we've got Kyle, pronouns he, him, calling in from Itchy Legs. Kyle has called the show before and was deconstructing Christianity, went full-blown atheist, and then swung back in the other direction and went theist again, and is kind of like just changed his mind a bit. And so I'm excited to see where Kyle's at on his journey. Kyle, you're on the line with Forrest and Aaron. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going really well, man. How are you today?
The other guy said he wants you to not mind him because he has a cold or something. I had just worked a 12-hour shift last night, and now I'm on hour 30 that I've been up. So just bear with me if you can.
Dude, yeah, I don't know how you do it. That's amazing. So it says here on the call screen, you disagree with the notion that there are thousands of gods. And I know you originally started as a Christian. I'm pretty sure you went back in that direction. So it sounds like you're going to argue for one God as opposed to thousands of them.
Well, I didn't know how to summarize it to the screener, so I'll kind of just try my best. Now you said the denomination is like 40,000 different gods or flavors of God, or however you want it.
Yeah, 40,000 different denominations of Christianity alone. There's plenty of there's tens of thousands of other gods on offer, but just the Christian gods, there's 40,000 of them.
Right. Now, if we're just talking the 40,000 in Christianity alone, wouldn't you say that it's all just a different interpretation of the same God, rather?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So when I say Christian gods, I'm talking about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, which are all individual entities, but also somehow the same entities. And at the very least, God versus Jesus are two distinct people who are also both somehow called God. None of that makes any logical sense to me. It doesn't work. They are, at the end of the day, different things. But that's what I'm talking about. So like when I talk about the 40,000 different types of Christianity, I'm mainly saying that like when people say, I know for sure Christianity is real, even then, which one? Which Christianity, which interpretation of this God? Because many of them are incompatible with the other ones.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of confusing to me myself. I just want to ask this. I have obviously called several times in the past, and then I go back and I read the comments and stuff, and people, like I've read comments that, this isn't just get lonely and call in, but every time I talk to you, you say keep calling and keep asking questions. So should I stop calling if it's just ask questions?
No, it's as long as you're being intellectually honest, as long as you're being honest with yourself and you're not just calling in to hear your own voice, and you're not, the problem that we have is that there's a lot of people out there that try to use the line the way that they should be using Google, where they come up with some random harebrained idea and then they call us to test it out. And then that idea gets destroyed. And then they go, okay, well, whatever, I'll call later. And then they just nothing sticks, nothing absorbs in their head. Every time we have spoken, Kyle, have asked good questions and had a good discussion. And even when we left disagreeing, I feel like you or somebody in the audience is benefiting from it. So, I'm not going to make it a secret that my intention and my goal and my hope is that I can help you free yourself from the chains of religion. I don't want to try to force you in anything. I'm not trying to tell you who to talk to or why. You are welcome to call me, at least, as long as you'd like.
That's what's up. Now, I try to get my mom, because she's so close-minded about the whole thing. And obviously, she's been indoctrinated and it's all she knows. And I keep telling her, hey, you should really, keep an open mind. I don't agree that you should bash other religions, because none of us truly know if it's right or wrong. And I keep trying to get her to call in, and it's like she's scared, and she uses the scripture. I'm pretty sure it's out of context, but she says, I'm not calling them. I'm not going to cast my pearls to swine and stuff. And
vipers,
like,
brood. That's a big one too.
Now, can I ask a question on her behalf?
Please. Yeah. And don't worry about it. Like, I don't want anybody to call in that doesn't want to call in. So like, it's fine if she never does. It's cool. But yes, please ask us a question on her behalf.
Now, I had told her that your response is probably going to be, and what if you're wrong? And what if Islam is true? And what if the Quran is true? And what about that hell? Mm-hmm. But her question is, she genuinely wants to know, what if your guys' whole belief system, your everything is wrong, and Jesus Christ, it's all real, and she wants to know, what will you do if you're wrong in the end and you stand before, the Trinity God and have to answer for it?
Yeah. I know what I want to say. Aaron, do you want to go first? Because I've been talking a lot, but I'm happy to go on.
Well, honestly, if God is real, exists, cares about us, has a place of paradise and all that, then if that is all real and I'm at the pearly gates, then there's basically two things. One, there's a lot to be explained. And two, I'm pretty sure a complete master of the universe is better than what 2,000 years ago people wrote down, because if God exists, it's better than anything we have imagined. And if it is literally just a thing that the people who wrote the Gospels said is actually real, that's a God I don't want to be participating with, because a God that says he's all good and then loves the idea of sending people into hell and loving to hear the wailing and gnashing of teeth, to quote from Matthew 13. It's like, no, that God is as bad, if not worse, than the Satan that I'm supposed to be running away from. So thanks, but no thanks. Like I say, though, personally, if God exists, it's better than what the Christians actually say he's like.
Yeah, I would say very similar things. If this God is real, you're right. I would probably start up by saying I'm not afraid of any other hell either. But like, assuming that this God is real and that I were to go to heaven or to the pearly gates and be asked, why didn't you believe? I say the first thing is that this God has a hell of a lot to answer for. The suffering in this world is ultimately, inevitably, completely its fault. And especially if it is the God of the Bible as described by the Bible, then this is 110% his responsibility, his ability to change anything, and his decision to make things wrong and then punish them for being wrong. And that, to me, is sadistic. So that God has a lot to answer for, and that God will need to beg me for forgiveness before I consider going to its heaven. If this heaven is real and the people who say they're going to heaven are really going, I've met some of the people that say they're going to heaven. I've watched a lot of the people who say they're going to heaven. I know what kind of people are supposedly going to heaven. I don't want to fucking be there. And if those are the kind of people that are being rewarded, then if the Kent Hovens and the Billy Grahams and the Oral Robertses and the Donald Trumps and all these other people that claim to be going to heaven, if hucksters and fraudsters and charlatans and rapists and murderers and Jeffrey Dahmer gets to turn to Jesus on his deathbed and go to heaven, but some poor kid getting bombed to shit in the Middle East that was born believing the wrong God doesn't, I don't want to be there. And it's not a moral system to get in the first place. And even if it was a good thing, I would reject it because I don't want to participate in such an immoral system. And then finally, even if I were to go, even if I was somehow, the forced to be a part of this heaven, I was, you get to be in paradise. It's okay. You're such a good dude, Forrest, and you saved so many kittens and you did so many good things. You get to go to heaven. How in the hell could I or any good person enjoy it, knowing that there are so many people suffering down in hell below me, knowing that not even in hell, just on earth, if I were to die right now, knowing that my wife is here alone grieving, I could not be happy in heaven. Knowing that my friends are burning in hell, I could not be happy in heaven. Knowing that I'm, forced into, if heaven is what the Bible describes, this lobotomized eternity of just subservient adulation to this fucking monster, I could not be happy. I would need to be forced to be happy. And that sounds right up the alley of this God who regularly tinkers with free will and takes away people's autonomy and individuality and forces them to be a monstrous shadow reflection of themselves. So that's where I'm at, man. If I had to go to heaven, this God needs to beg me for forgiveness, and then I still wouldn't want to be a part of their fucking evil theme park.
All right. Well, I know that my mom would say, woe to you, but I have questions since you brought up Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah.
I have a friend, and I think he subscribes to like the Freemason or of some sort. So I mean, you could call that cult or whatever. And he'll get drunk, and I'll go over there, hang out. We'll just go back and forth with ideas and thoughts. And Jeffrey Dahmer came on topic, and he said that the age-old question is that Jeffrey Dahmer loved to kill people. He loved to eat people. He loved it. He loved it. He loved it. How wrong really was he? And then to add to that, would you agree that that you would be lying to say that you don't at least hold the possibility to do things like Jeffrey Dahmer?
No, I don't. So there's a very common.
At least that it's possible that you could, if you enjoyed what Jeffrey Dahmer enjoyed, you do possess the ability to do those things.
Oh no! Even if I don't enjoy it, I of course possess the ability. I
right.
Just like anybody, I possess the ability to rape and murder and cannibalize and do all sorts of things. And here's the thing, man, is that I do murder and rape and cannibalize exactly as many people as I want to, which is none. I do it exactly as much as I want. Every day I murder as many people as I want to murder. It just so happens that it's fucking none of them. And so like, when you have somebody who's, evil, Hitler was a Christian. Hitler died a Christian. He was a practicing active member of the church. Is he in heaven because he accepted Jesus as his savior? It's, Jeffrey Dahmer died on his being a Christian and confessing and asking forgiveness. Is he in heaven? These people, are you going to call these people your brothers in Christ and love and embrace them and all because they're of the same faith, which seems to be what the Bible tells you to do? Or do you believe in some sort of morality that's beyond that? And even so, even if there was some sort of punishment afterwards, well, the only punishment on offer is eternal punishment, which is also immoral because an eternal punishment for a finite crime is awful. It's immoral. There should be a set punishment for the crime, and then the punishment ends. And that's only if this God has the fucking right to punish us. If this God offered punishment to me, I'd say, who the fuck are you? Why do you get to judge me when your sins, when this God's sins far outweigh my own? Who is this God to judge and pass punishment on me? Nobody. So like, yeah, there's a lot to be said there. And as far as the woe to you type thing, yeah, dude, I can quote scripture too. It doesn't make it right. And it means as much for your mom to say to me, well, the fool says in his heart that there is a God. Okay, the fool says in their heart that there is a God. It means nothing. It means nothing. Either this thing is real or it isn't. And if you have a good reason to believe it, I want to hear it. But if you don't,
right,
then you're going to need to justify it, especially considering and I know you and I have talked about this before. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The baggage, man, the fucking horrible, immoral baggage that this God comes with. You're talking about the God from the pro-slavery, pro-child sex, genocide. This is the God. This is the guy. This is the smartest thing in the universe, really? And you're going to believe on this without good evidence because woe to you who don't? Fuck off. It's not worth it.
Now, let me ask you this, though. What if, I'm not saying you are, Forrest, but what if you are reading it wrong? Like, like you're reading it literally. What if there really is a right interpretation to reading the verses?
Mm-hmm. Then what a dickhead your God is.
That's why I said that if there is the Almighty out there and he actually is all good, then he is not the same as we would read from these books. That ultimately, whatever version of Christianity exists in our times, in our fleshy existence, it is paling compared to what the real version is, because there is so much horrible stuff that you can find in that text that you would not expect if it is sourced from the ultimate source of goodness. So, like I say, if God exists and is all good, it is different than anything we humans have imagined. It's better than what we have imagined. So I don't get hung up on what one angry person wrote in a text 19 centuries ago, because they don't tell me metaphysical truths. They tell me what they were angry about. When I read Revelation, I see some guy who got who knows what substance into his body and just writing these fever dreams about how he is just so angry at all of his religious and political enemies. And honestly, guy doesn't like Rome. Fine. How does that tell me how the universe actually operates? I don't think those are connected. And so I say, to hell with the book. And if heaven exists, it's better than what the Christians actually tell me it's like.
Yeah, that's the big thing to me, is like, if this God is really all knowing and all perfect and all kind and all loving, and hell awaits if we do not know him properly and we do not worship him properly. And then the only source of information that we have on him, this book, is difficult to interpret. Why would you ever do it? If I run my companies, like I do my own work for YouTube stuff. I have the charity stuff that I do. If I put out a memo to everybody that works with me and it's really fucking vague and shitty, and I'm like, job someday 11. And they're like, what the fuck is this? You know, and they don't know. And then I show up and I'm like, why did no one come to the meeting at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, the 11th, on the whatever? I was very clear. Fuck all of you. You're all fired. Like, I'm a terrible boss. And here's this God that's like, yo, you have to believe in me and you have to do it right. And you have to understand exactly these natures of different parts of the universe. And you have to not eat these foods and not have sex with these people. And only when you do have sex, do it in these ways. And like, and wear these clothes and cut your beard in certain way, and all these other weird ass rules that don't make any damn sense. And also slavery is okay, I guess, whatever, you know? And then 2,000 years later, there's 50 different interpretations of this book, 100 different translations of this book, 1 million different versions of this book. And we're all just lost trying to figure out where the hell this God is and if this God is and how to do it right. And this dude just sitting there, they're like, I couldn't have been more clear. I sacrificed a man in Palestine 2,000 years ago, and I don't know what else to do. I can't be any more clear. Like, bitch, send a text message. What is this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. I think that again just falls back on this God. The responsibility always inevitably falls back on the guy who claims to be able to shape the nature and the fabric of the entire fucking universe. And you can't send an email? Come on. Like, that's for me, it's just not good enough.
I got you.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Anyway, Aaron, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't.
It's, man, I've told you this before, and so you're not hearing anything new from me, Kyle, but like, the questions that you ask and the seriousness that with which you broach these topics in your first calls, and the way that you laughed at it and you're like, damn, that's real. You know, we're talking about the same stuff. I think that you are a kinder and more moral person than the God that you believe in. And I think that the reason you continue to believe in it is because it's easy. And it's because it's something that you're worried about not doing, because I don't think you have a lot of context for that. And I just, man, I know how patronizing this sounds, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to change what I'm saying. I don't mean it to be patronizing, but there's no way to make it not sound patronizing. I fucking hope that you like value yourself enough to fucking just get rid of this shit, dude, and just be happy on your own. I think you're better off without it. But you got to do you, man.
Bro,
I'm here for you, whatever you choose.
Bro, Forrest, I've tried what feels like everything, and literally, whether you want to call it religion, Christianity, Jesus, it literally just worked for me. So why would I Why would I give up the only thing that's worked this far? Why?
Does it work for you? How does it work?
It does.
It leaves you.
No,
from everything I'm seeing, it leaves you with a bunch of questions that are unanswerable. It leaves you with a bunch of things that are unquestionable in the first place. It doesn't answer any serious major questions about where we come from or where we're going or what meaning of life is or anything like that in a way that you can actually test or defend. It's just something that feels good because you're a white dude in America that gets the nicest version of this religion, not the one that's pushed upon everybody else as being colonized. It's you don't get to deal with the purity culture of it. You don't get to deal with being told that you're a whore and a slut because you wore a spaghetti strap at 13. You don't get to deal with being chastised for being homosexual. You don't get to deal with the threat of hell because you're trans. You get the love and the shiny and the pretty and the sweet. And there's some guy out there that really loves you. He really does. All you have to do is not think about it too hard. And meanwhile, you're robbed of your education and your own integrity. What do you mean it works for you, man?
What's the scripture that you use about the jot or tittle? What is that?
Let me check. I don't know it off the top of my head.
That's Matthew 5.
You don't have to look it up. But as a response, what is your thoughts on what if Galatians 5:14? If you can look that up real quick, what if that really is what it boils down to? That's all it is.
Galatians what?
Galatians 5:14.
Galatians 5:14. The entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. If that is the law of this God, that's swell. I wish he would do the same. Because right now, this God doesn't love us, its neighbors. It doesn't take care of us. It leaves thousands of us to starve and die and suffer. It allows for countless atrocities to be carried out in its name. That's not love. And I would be so fine if somebody just said, I just want you to love each other. That's all I want. Hell yeah, me too. You don't need a God to tell you to do that. And you don't need the threat of hell or the promise of heaven to have to do that. And if you do, if you are only loving each other because you are worried about hell or heaven, then you're not a good person. You're a bad person on a leash. And that is what this religion perpetuates, is low-level moral development and high-level control.
Now you asked, I heard what you said. I forget so easily. I didn't mean to cut you off. You said,
no, you're fine. I do the same shit.
You said, how is it really working in your favor though? Or you said something like that. Now my question is, before I started calling you guys, I was living the quote unquote born again lifestyle. And it's like people that knew me before I jumped on the whole rabbit hole of religion itself, or just whatever you want to call it. It's like people just without knowing what God, what faith, what did it, what this, what that, they noticed a drastic change in the person that I had become, and then it's like after I had started asking questions. I ain't blaming you guys, but you guys are the ones I talk to, and it's like, and it's like everybody noticed a drastic change in a negative sense, and it's just like, what do you call like what Christianity would call born again? People can automatically tell a drastic, like a positive change in a person without knowing what faith, what belief, what role was played that got you there. What would you call, like some people would say, I see like an aura around you, or I've heard multiple things. But what would you call that thing that these people are claiming to see on you? You know what I mean?
What are you calling about? And like what drastic change do you mean specifically? You said that they noticed a negative change in you. What is the negative change they noticed specifically?
Well, just trying to literally murder and annihilate people's like hope and meaning and
you were trying to murder people's hope.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Were you really, or were you just asking questions that made them uncomfortable?
Well, I was like hammering them with like, how do you know that ain't a delusion? How do you know you're not just so deluded? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? How do you know? Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Prove it. Bullshit. Bullshit.
So, Kyle, it sounds like you entered into the angry atheist phase. When a lot of people deconstruct their religion, they become the stereotypical angry atheist, where they do exactly that, and they want to bring everybody else along with them, and they get frustrated by seeing people that they care about in their lives believing something that they don't believe anymore, and then those people in the exact same equal and opposite reaction are frustrated and upset that you don't believe something that they believe. They love you, and they're worried for your soul, and they're worried for your eternity, and they're worried for your mental health, and they think they have it figured out, and they see you doing something that they don't understand. And you are asking good questions and maybe being a little bit annoying to them, which, no shade, we've all fucking been there, dude. I was there for a long time. Arguably, I still am. That's my job. And so, like, you are going through this new phase of learning and asking people good questions. And they, because they love you and because they have been abused, are now demanding you change because this is a negative thing for them. You're making them uncomfortable by asking questions that they're not asking themselves and challenging the beliefs that they didn't ask to be challenged and weren't ready to challenge in the way that you were challenging. And now you are back in the religion, and everybody can tell you there's such a positive change. And what they mean by that is that you shut up. And you're back into the fold. You're back into the herd. You're back into the rhythm that they are comfortable with, and they interpret that as happiness. So you ask what the positive change is? It's lobotomization, man. That's the positive change.
Well, hey, but honestly, there is no like after I quote unquote try to deconvert. It's like now that I'm choosing to believe in this. Nobody wants anything to do because, I'm choosing and I'm not genuine. And it's just, I was just talking about when I first, at the beginning.
That's why we always say there's no hate quite like Christian love. It's man, I'm sorry. I mean that sincerely. I really am fucking sorry that these people are treating you that way. And it just kind of shows the herd mentality, cult behavior that these religions bring about. If there was really one genuinely good, take it outside of religion, a really good political philosophy, and someone started challenging it and questioning it, we would all celebrate. Because best case scenario, you teach us something new. Worst case scenario, you figure out it's wrong and you come back to where you're at. Same thing with science, same thing with economics, same thing with literally everything. But in religion, you have to be right, otherwise it's performative, otherwise you're evil, otherwise you're this and that and the other. If you ask me, my answer would be fuck them. You don't need them if they're going to treat you that way. But I understand how difficult that can be if these are friends, family members, people in a close, especially a small community. I can understand how hard that is. And that's a really, really big stumbling block and a big barrier for a lot of new atheists. And I hope that you find a way around that, man. But don't fall into the trap of the logical fallacy of saying there was an adverse consequence in my community. Therefore, I have to change my mind and believe in this fucking monster in the sky. Like that's the effect that the belief has on your life doesn't change whether or not the belief is true. And even if Christianity makes you feel pretty, or it makes you feel, even if Christianity makes you feel good, and Christianity makes your friends feel good, and Christianity makes your family feel good, that doesn't mean it is or isn't true. If it's true, it's true. And if it's true, you should be able to find out why it's true.
Yeah, but Forrest, if I'm on a truth search in life, and I actually believe the claims that I believe, Jesus specifically, then what good does it do to lie to myself and then have to, throw away the, I know personal experience doesn't count, or just I literally would have to lie like I did. Like you convinced me that that what I was believing is a lie, and then I had to stop. I'm like, well, I automatically want to believe whatever I hear somebody say, gullibility, whatever. But man, what about the people? Wouldn't you agree that there is a large number of people that can't even follow their own morality? They have to have like a set in stone something to follow in life. Because I know I don't lack the knowledge to always ask questions and to always to absorb all this information, man.
I think, man, I'll be honest with you. I think
hard, bro.
That
it's fucking hard, man.
It is. No, here's the thing, man. Here's where I'm at. Because like even that last thing you said was a lot. There was a lot there. And it sounded like that was that sounded like it came from somewhere deep. That was a lot of different things that were all kind of conflated together. And so like here's what I want you to just think about for today. Is that what religion offers, especially Christianity, what it offers is easy answers for complex questions. Morality is solved. Do what God tells you to do. The universe, the nature of the universe, the mysteries of the universe are solved. God did it because God did it. These are easy answers for really difficult, not easy questions. Reality is much scarier than that. Atheism is much scarier than that. You now have to do the hard work, and it is hard work, to figure out what you think about everything, about physics, about math, about biology, about morality, about philosophy, about whether or not life has a meaning, and if it does, what does that meaning mean, and what do you do about it? And it is fucking scary. But you don't have to do it all at once. And you certainly don't have to do it alone. And more importantly, you don't even have to do it all. I'm not telling you, and I would never tell anyone to just not think about something. But like, you don't have to sit here and rebuild your entire fucking morality, worldview, consciousness, everything from scratch at the drop of a hat in order to be an atheist. You just have to admit that you have no good reason to believe in this God. And if you want to be an anti-theist, then say, all right, even if this God is real, I don't want it to do it either. And then you can start that job and say, all right, so if God isn't real and if I'm alone in all this, then how do I be a good person? And yeah, there's a lot of people out there that would really struggle with that. And there are a lot of people out there that need some guidance in those ways. But the guidance that the Bible gives you is it's right or wrong because God said so. Not it's right or wrong because it hurts people, not it's right or wrong because it affects societies, not it's right or wrong because XYZ biomedical thing or whatever. It's just, I told you to. And that's not moral. That's just being a child forever. And that sounds like shit. So I think that you should respect yourself and respect everyone else enough to say, I give you the credit that you are able to do this on your own. I don't think you're a baby. I don't think you need to be bossed around. I think you're smart enough to do what you need to do to live the life that's best for you and hopefully good for other people too.
All right, but what about, like you said religion is hateful, but it's like obviously, I have feelings and emotions and all this, and it's like whenever I'm quote unquote deconverting and trying to leave religion, everybody in the chat is like, yay, congrats. But then anytime I say something for why I believe, it's all hateful. Oh, you're fucking delusion retard, and it sounds like you don't fucking this, that, the other. It's like people in the chat are hateful as fuck if you're not in line with what they believe. And it's just like, you can't get away from it one way or the other. And I know it's not you.
Welcome to the world.
I mean, you're saying how you feel about it, but it's like those people in that chat, if you're not agreeing on the call, they get hateful and they say some of the most hateful things about people when really all these people are doing is trying to trying to explain why they believe what they believe. You can call that sophistry. You can call it a fallacy. I really don't care. But it's like, that's just what I've gotten.
It is a fallacy. You're saying that these people are being mean, and therefore you don't want to be a part of them. Don't be a part of them. Don't be a part of a chat. Don't be on the channel community. Don't worry about it. If they treat you badly, don't be a part of it. Find a different way to believe what you believe. There's plenty of atheists that don't like our channel, that don't like what we do, that don't like what we say, that don't like the community that we've built. There's plenty of people that are in our chat. Yeah, absolutely. And there are plenty of people in the chat that I disagree with too. There are plenty of times where I've had to call out other atheists for calling religion a mental disorder and shit like that. I think that's fucking stupid. I think it's an awful thing to say for so many reasons. So just people are gonna be dicks. I doubt very seriously that anybody in our chat would be throwing around the R slur, but whatever. That just the point is that we don't let other people being a certain way dictate what you decide to believe is or isn't true. And if you are going to do that, then I encourage you to listen to how lots and lots and lots of Christians talk about gay people, trans people, women, people of color. Like I promise you that there's not a lot of room up on the high horse that you're building there. So with that,
I probably shouldn't have got so personal with what I said about the chat.
It's fine.
But man, it's like you're gonna be disliked no matter what side you're on, and
that's true.
At this point, man, I'm not here for argument. I honestly, I don't know you, Forrest. I don't know you, Aaron, but I care about you guys. So like that's just a moral thing that is written on the heart, if you will, and I'm not here to change your minds. And I don't have anybody else to ask questions out of my bubble.
We care about you too, Kyle.
Man, I probably won't call anymore. I'm just going to have to, like you said, not believe everything I hear and just figure it out for myself. And I appreciate the role you have played in this little journey I've been on. And I just appreciate you.
I hope that your journey isn't over, and I hope that you do call us back sometime. And just ask more questions. As long as you're being honest about your questions and you're not just asking shit just to ask shit, like, yeah, I have no problem with that. And I honestly, I think even just there, you've broken more ground. Don't let the way people treat you dictate what you believe. So man, I think that you would be probably comforted to know just how many Christians have gone through the exact same journey as you and had the exact same feelings as you and dealt with the exact same back and forth pull and probably felt foolish in one direction and then foolish in another direction and then not knowing what to believe and stuck with comfort or whatever like that. I think that you would be very comforted to know just how many people have been there as well. And I encourage you to check out Recovering from Religion and talk to their counselors, even if you don't want to change your mind, to just talk about those feelings and talk about why you feel the way you do and how many people have also been there and can sympathize and can appreciate. And I promise none of those people will call you any kind of slur for whatever you're saying. And if any of our chat, if any of our community starts throwing on slurs at you, you tell them that I told you to. You tell them that I told them to fuck off.
I mean, thank you. Honestly, the main reason that got me to start calling is everyone, taught me not to question things, and everyone acts fearful to talk to an atheist, and I'm just not that guy that is afraid to hear different sides of everything, and so that is the main reason why I call frequently, just because I'm not afraid to hear differences. I'm not afraid to talk to you guys.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that about you, man. I care about you.
More moral. You guys are more moral than half the Christians I know. So, I don't know you. I don't know what you do on the other side of the camera, but
I beat puppies with kittens. Kyle, I've actually, we've got a few other calls, so I'm going to move on. Unless Aaron, do you have anything else at the end?
I just want to give one last piece of advice, Kyle. You're clearly on a journey, and the best thing you can do for yourself is be true to yourself. Do not sacrifice your intellect for the sake of others. I know that can be, and many times, scary. And ultimately, though, you want to be able to look yourself in the mirror and bravely say and think the thoughts that you actually have, rather than force anyone else's thoughts into your head just for the sake of sitting in. And I think you will be happier for doing that, even as you have to struggle for now. And I hope only the best for you.
Most definitely.
I appreciate
Kyle,
you guys.
I care about you. I love you, man. I want you to be well, no matter what you end up believing. I wish all the best for you.
Love you, bro. Hey, take care, guys.
Later, man. Bye-bye. Kyle's nice as fuck. And I just really want, like, he's called in a ton of times, and it is always just like, I can tell how much he's struggling. And I really appreciate his honesty through all of it. Even when, we're all disappointed. Oh, fuck, he went back to Christianity, but he's fucking honest about it. And I really, really like that. So I wish we had more callers like Kyle.
Hey, come on, man. We gotta promote that clip we all just watched.
Well, I'd rather not shill.
Okay, well, Daddy has a $2,000 a month Red Oak habit, and I am your production god, and you will shill when I tell you to shill. Dance for me, baby.
Go, God damn it. Why did my life come to this? Go to patreon.com/call-the-line and donate. God damn it.
This is what happens when we let live chatters write our scripts.